We see the world based on what is called our interpretive style, and your interpretive style is the way you interpret things to yourself. So if you change the way you interpret things to yourself, your attitude toward everything changes. We also know that every person has a self-concept, which is like a thermostat. Your self-concept is your operating system. Everything that you produce on the outside is determined, modified, affected in some way by your self-concept. You cannot change what is being produced on the outside without changing your operating system. You always perform on the outside based on how you think on the inside. Now, the law of belief says that your beliefs become your realities, but the things that you believe may not necessarily be true. However, if you believe them intensely enough, they will become true for you. The law of attraction says that you attract into your life people, circumstances, and harmony with your own thoughts. Your expectations tend to become your own self-fulfilling prophecies. If you absolutely expect that to be true, if that's your fundamental belief, then over time, that will become true. If you confidently expect to be a great success, then by gum, you sure will be, no matter what people tell you. You just say, well, it'll be all right, everything will work out fine. An attitude of confident expectation is a hallmark of highly successful people. They just expect to succeed more than they fail. They expect to keep making progress. They just constantly expect it. Your expectations affect your realities. How what you experience on the outside is determined by how you think on the inside. One of the most important of all principles is to challenge your self-limiting beliefs. You see, we are all plagued by self-limiting beliefs. We tell ourselves that we're limited in some way when in reality, not true at all. Ernest Holmes, the great metaphysician, once said that all negativity is rooted essentially in the frustration of potential. Nelson Mandela said, our great problem is not that we feel that we are powerless, but that deep down inside, we feel that we are powerful beyond measure. All improvement in personal performance begins with an improvement in your self-concept, in your beliefs about yourself. When you change your beliefs about yourself on the inside, you change the reality of your life on the outside. There is a relationship between self-concept and performance. Your self-concept precedes and predicts your levels of performance and effectiveness in everything you do. There's a direct relationship between the amount of your potential you use and your self-concept. The average person's self-concept is far more limited than it needs to be, and their level of effectiveness is limited as well. We know that your self-concept is subjective. What you think and feel and believe about yourself is not based on reality. It's based on information that you have taken in and accepted as real, and as a result, it has become true for you. You think that you're not good in some particular area of life. You think that your income is limited. It's subjective. We each have a series of many self-concepts. You have a self-concept for how you dress, a self-concept for how punctual you are and how well you use your time, and how much you read. You have a self-concept for every part of your life that you consider important. Now, here's the point that turned my life around many years ago with regard to self-concept. Each of us has a self-concept with regard to the amount of money that we make. You can never earn more than 10% above or below your self-concept level of income without engaging in compensatory behaviors. Your self-concept level of income is your comfort zone, and you strive to get into the comfort zone, strive to get into a comfort zone, and then stay there. And we will resist any change that moves us out of our comfort zone, even positive change. If we're moved out of our comfort zone involuntarily for any period of time, we'll struggle to get back into it and rebuild it immediately. The amount of money that you earn today has nothing to do with what you're capable of earning. It has only to do with where your comfort zone is today. If you earn 10% more or above your self-concept level of income, you'll immediately engage in what are called compensatory behaviors, throwaway behaviors. If you go 10 or more below your self-concept level of income, you engage in scrambling behaviors. You work longer hours, you work harder, you take additional training, you get interested in other jobs and second income opportunities. But once you get into your comfort zone, you stay there. I realized that if I could raise my thermostat, my financial thermostat, I could increase my income. And that was the turning point. It enabled me to increase my income 10 times. No matter how hard you work on the outside, nothing will change if you don't change your comfort zone, your self-concept on the inside. It's your self-concept that is made up of 3 parts. The first part is your self-ideal, composed of your goals, your values, the qualities that you admire in yourself and others, your dreams, and your visions. Your ideal exerts an enormous influence on the direction that you go in life, on what you do in the present to assure that you arrive there in the future. Successful people are very clear about who they are and where they're going and what they want to accomplish. They're very clear, and as a result, this acts almost like a magnet and pulls them forward in the direction of making their ideal into their reality. They're very fuzzy about their ideals in most cases. They have no ideals at all. They have no visions or goals. And if something else comes along, they go in that direction. The greater clarity you have about who you are and what you would ideally like to be and have and do sometime in the future, the more likely it is that you will move rapidly toward your goals. And your goals will move more rapidly toward you. So your self-ideal is very important. The second is your self-image. Your self-image is the way you see yourself and the way you think about yourself. It determines how you perform on the outside. If you change your mental pictures about yourself, if you begin to visualize and imagine yourself as you would like to be, that mental picture is accepted by your subconscious mind as a blueprint or a command, and you act on the outside consistent with the mental. If you have something important coming up, before you go to bed at night, before an important day, the last thing you think about is you visualize and feed your mind with a picture of yourself performing at your very best. Your self-esteem is really the core of everything. Your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. It determines what kind of a person you are. People with high self-esteem are likable and personable. They get along well with other people. They feel good about themselves. They seldom are sick. Self-esteem is how much you like yourself, how important you feel you are. How much you like yourself and respect yourself is the critical determinant of everything that happens to you. They want to be around you, associate with you, buy from you, and recommend you to their friends. Another thing is that self-esteem is very closely correlated with self-confidence. The more you like yourself, the more confidence you have. The more you like yourself, the more you realize that failure is never final, is that failure is merely a form of feedback, is that problems are simply learning experiences. Our greatest obstacles to success are our fears, fears of failure, fears of loss, fears of making a mistake, and so on. But the more you like yourself, the less you fear is, the higher your self-esteem, the lower your level of fear. So whenever you're feeling a little nervous or uncomfortable, or you're making a presentation, say, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself, I like myself. And what you do is you pump up your psyche, you pump up your self-esteem. The key to human relations is to make other people feel important. Everything that you do that makes another person feel happier about themselves makes you feel happier about yourself. Hey, there's a rule that says this: success does not change you. It just makes you more of what you already are. So if you're a really nice person, you become successful, be a nicer person. If you're a jerk and you become successful, become a bigger jerk. Whenever you say something to yourself that is inconsistent with old garbage, you feel uncomfortable and a little bit like an imposter, like a fraud, like it's not right. However, you keep saying, I like myself. I like myself. You drive it deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind. And you like yourself more and more and more. And eventually it overrides all the old negative messages. Everything that we do has to be aimed at increasing the amount at which we like ourselves. Why is it that we strive to be excellent in our fields? Because you can never be happy, and you can never have high self-esteem if you feel inferior in your field. When you become one of the top 10 in your field, you really like yourself. You feel good about yourself. People respect and esteem you and look up to you. So the reason we strive for excellence is because excellence reinforces and supports our self-esteem. The very act of setting high goals creates what is called the reversibility effect. Everything is back and forth, windshield wipe, and your whole life must become a constant process of upgrading your self-esteem in every area of life that's important to you. And you will accomplish extraordinary things. As you cannot uplift another person without simultaneously uplifting yourself, the flip side is also true. We cannot do something negative or say something negative about another person without tearing down ourselves as well. There are two major obstacles to high performance. The first, A, is the fear of failure. The fear of failure is learned in early childhood. This fear of failure is terrible, and the way that you counteract the fear of failure. Whenever you think of something that is fearful, you say the words which override these words. The words are, I can do it, I can do it. When you encourage other people, you actually encourage yourself. And remember, fear is the big enemy. Our job is to get rid of this fear of failure, this fear of fear that holds us back and paralyzes us. And B is the fear of rejection. Fear of rejection is the second big fear. It's programmed into our subconscious mind, and many adults become hypersensitive, fear of criticism. And we find that all successful people have to overcome these fears of failure and these fears of criticism, these fears of disapproval, in order to move ahead in their lives. There's a direct relationship, a reverse relationship between self-esteem on the one escalator and your fears of failure and rejection on the other. The more you like yourself, the less you fear failure. The more you like yourself, the less you fear rejection. The more you like yourself, the fewer fears you have. So when you talk to yourself in a positive way, you think, feel, and act in a positive and constructive way. 95% of your emotions at any moment are determined by how you talk to yourself. If you talk to yourself in a positive, constructive, dynamic way, your self-esteem gets higher and higher, and your fears get lower and lower.